Welcome to the DSEF. The Direct Selling Executives Forum was created to be a place where real direct selling executives and vendors in the space can come out and share solutions to challenges that face us all in the marketplace. Our guest today is going to be unpacking a topic and sharing their raw thoughts for you to learn from. All right, let's go meet our guest. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Direct Selling Executive Forum's open forum on the topic of frameworks for affiliate marketing. Now, affiliate marketing as a version of referral marketing has been a confusing topic to many people in the space because a lot of different people believe very different things about affiliate marketing. I have invited Gaya to come speak with us today. And for those of you who haven't met her, she's been a proponent of a version of affiliate marketing in our space for a while now. And I'm very excited to have her here on our show today. But for those of you who haven't heard Gaya's story before, she's an entrepreneur and executive with over 15 years of experience in the direct selling space, working with multi-billion-dollar brands and hyper-growth startups. She built her own beauty brand and throughout her career has launched and managed businesses across 5 continents. She's now the CEO of Wild Notes, a sister company to Young Living Essential Oils. And Gaia is leading an innovative growth strategy of one of the largest and most established companies in network marketing. In partnership with Mary Young, co-founder and the CEO of Young Living, Gaia has developed a first of its kind affiliate program that seamlessly integrates Young Living's existing network marketing model. Wild Notes introduced a 100% natural fine fragrance collection, drawing on Young Living's rich legacy in health and wellness. And by leveraging modern technology, digital marketing, and a seamless e-commerce experience, Wild Notes will now empower Young Living brand partners with tools, resources, and innovation needed to thrive in 2025 and beyond. Gaya, thank you so much for being here with us today. We're really excited to jump in. Now, as we get started, let's go ahead and pass the call to our host, Umair. So, Umair, the show is yours. Let's jump right in.
Thank you very much for joining us today. And it's an absolute honor to have you on today, ma'am. As we kick off, the topic of today's conversation is rather very, very interesting, and that is frameworks for affiliate marketing. So my first question before we jump into the topic today, Gaya, many may not be familiar with your story. How did you first get into this industry and what were the moments that led you to the place of leading with affiliate marketing?
Thank you so much for having me, and thanks for that beautiful introduction as well. Well, how did I get to where I am? And the first introduction to direct selling was back in 2008. Me and my husband, we both were just fresh graduates, and we had our life planned like everybody else would.
Yeah.
We just barely got married, and then the recession happened. And being here in the United States on a visa, it wasn't the most ideal time to try to find a new job as a fresh graduate. So, long story short, we were given 60 days to find a job with a company that will sponsor our visa. So there are a lot of guidelines around, what kind of job you could have. And if not, we would have to leave the country. So during that time, we got introduced to a gentleman based here in Utah. He was an executive at Monavi back in the day.
Wow.
And we had about 20 minutes with him. We kind of shared our sob story with him. And by that time, we had gone through our 60-day time period, and we had like few weeks left. And after he listened to us, he said, I don't know you two, but I have this gut feeling that you will do something good in this country. So I'm going to help at least one of you find a job so you can legally stay here. It's not going to be glamorous. It's going to just open a door for you, buy you time to stay in this country and figure out the rest. And he came through just a few days before our visa expired. He came through. And at that time, it made sense for my husband to get that job because I was getting ready to go back to get my MBA. And because of him, it just allowed us to stay here and kind of rest its history. So that was our very first introduction to direct sales. We had no idea what this industry is and how it works. And we're skeptical like anybody else would, right? Kind of sounds weird, but it was an opportunity. That was the only door that we had open. And so we kind of decided to walk through that and realized what an amazing industry this is. And then obviously I finished my MBA, came back and started working at Monavi as well, and built my career in the space for 15 years. During that process, I learned the core principle of direct selling network marketing is you just believe in someone. You just and give people an opportunity to
Yes.
work hard and create the future that they desire. And that's what he did for us. So I personally resonate with that. And so I fell in love with this industry. I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to continue to contribute to that. So that's how I got into it. And
Love it.
then after working for several different companies, obviously I went on to start my own business, like Ben shared. That was right before COVID.
Oh,
So
wow.
as a new startup, self-funded startup, I put my house to the bank to get a loan to start my company. So I couldn't give
Hmm.
up. I
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
forced to figure out how to come out of this COVID dip. So I started going in and figuring out how do we bridge this gap that our brand partners leave behind, our field leaving behind, because we are primarily sharing online now. We're not doing
Yeah.
that belly to belly anymore. What that
Yeah.
Sure.
does, it leaves a gap for that customer journey, right?
True.
And a lot of customers fall through the cracks and we don't see the conversion, we don't see that duplication happening. So I realized that's where the issue is, and
Yeah.
I was forced to go and figure out how to bridge that gap. And that's where I came into this world of affiliate marketing and really became a big believer in there's a middle ground.
Wow.
There's a
Love it.
way to incorporate affiliate marketing into our businesses, and it's a must-have, in my opinion, right now. And that is the bridge that's going to help us continue to carry on our industry forward.
Very
And then,
cool.
I mean, I mean, it took me a few years, trial and error, to figure out a lot of these pieces. It was a really painful process. But since then, last couple of years, I've been kind of sharing a lot, like
Wow.
companies that need to adapt and innovate and
Yes.
pivot. These big companies who has this massive databases needs to go and implement some of this, and
Yes.
that's what led to a conversation with Mary Young, who obviously saw the vision
Sure.
and was so willing to innovate
Yeah.
Yeah.
and wanted to take the risk, and
Yeah.
that's what entrepreneurship is all about, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love it. It's so wonderful about your story, Gaia, before we jump into the real topics today, is I say often that people ask even me about my own journey. I say you could fill a church with the amount of people who
Yeah.
poured into my life and loved on me that didn't
Yeah.
need to,
Uh-huh.
right? But did anyway.
Yeah.
I always say that so many
Yeah.
times we are not self-made success stories, that we have to say thank you to go back in our journey and think about all these
Uh-huh.
people who like believed we could do it, had faith, invited us to something higher, something
Yeah.
on a better
Yeah.
level. And so I love hearing about how just one team member at Monavi made such a difference in your husband's life and in your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And it opened this door for the
Yeah.
last 15, really 17 years of your journey
Yeah.
coming out as a
Yeah.
student and everything else. And it's really it's a wonderful reminder. I know even in this season of life for myself, and for those of you executives on the line and you hear Gaia's story, it's such a powerful reminder to continue to be that person for others. I just want to pause
Yeah.
for a second as
Mhm.
we jump in today. Is like that, that person changed Guy and her husband's life forever. And there's uh, probably tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people we can point to that Gaia and her different
Yeah.
programs and systems have affected their lives over the years. And you think about that, and when you remember that, it helps you see those moments. So thank you so much for sharing your
Yeah,
story, Gaia. I
absolutely. I mean,
loved hearing it that way.
Yeah. We gotta give a shout out to Monavi, to
Yeah.
get started.
yeah, we
Definitely.
still keep, I mean, obviously he's passed, but we still keep in touch with a lot of people over there. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, that's the companies that change our lives. And we
Yep.
went from
Yeah.
living off of a car and not even being able to put food on the table to honestly living our American dream because of this industry. Obviously, it wasn't on the corporate field side, right? We hear those stories on the field side a
Sure.
lot. Don't think he would have been so open to giving us a chance if
Yeah.
we didn't have that mindset in our industry.
True.
That's what we
True.
believe, right?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think another company, another industry would have done what he has done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Before we jump into the frameworks, like Gaia, there's a lot of confusion around affiliate marketing and what it even mean. Before we jump into the frameworks, what does affiliate marketing mean to you?
For me,
Mm,
affiliate marketing is all about sharing a product that you love and
Yeah.
partnering with a brand and sharing a product that you love and use and making commissions off of every person that you refer. And when
Yes.
you look at that, that's a core of who we are. If you look at every network marketing, direct selling company, majority of our people, probably over 80% of our people are in it to just share a product. They're
Yeah.
not interested in building massive teams. They're not
Yeah.
making massive paychecks. They're making $400, $500, $600 a month by
Yeah.
simply sharing a product that they love and have benefited. So it's not a new concept. It just
Yeah.
happened to have a new name because a lot of these e-commerce brands are adopting
Yeah. Yeah.
this core principle and using word of mouth to grow their brand, especially post-COVID. And they do it so successfully and they branded it as affiliate marketing. But honestly, we have been doing it for all these
Yeah.
years. That's
Yeah,
how I look at affiliate marketing.
it's an important distinction. I'm happy you asked the question, Mary, because what Guy is sharing is one of two real views in the space. And I think it's important for all the listeners to get this. There's one set of you who are running direct sales, network marketing, MLM companies. And when we say affiliate marketing as a framework, your brain does not go to what Guy just shared. Guy is sharing that, hey, this is a member type that's in the comp plan that earns one level commission. They're highly incentivized to just go out there and sell. They're not getting rewarded
Two.
for referring others to build a group, right? It's a completely different
Yeah.
view, but this is still a human who is registering on your website to promote your products, which is very different than the other traditional sense of affiliate marketing. If we think of rewinding pre-COVID, and it's still very big today, but when you say affiliate marketing in a traditional sense, we're usually not speaking at all about people coming to your website
Yeah.
to register to promote your offer. You would be thinking about working with like a publisher's network, right? In the traditional affiliate marketing world, where you
Uh-huh.
have some sort of a landing page that you've served up to a
Yeah.
publisher's network and you've told those publishers, hey, we'll pay X per sale or X per click or X per visit, and then
Mhm.
traffic just comes to that page and converts into sales. But
Yeah.
so Guy is not
Yeah.
talking about that. Okay, this is very important as a distinction as we jump into there. You're going to be
Yeah.
confused if you miss this part. Okay, she's speaking about a actual relationship between the company and the affiliate, where the affiliate actually enrolled on their website and is in relationship with the company directly, not with just an
Yeah.
affiliate network. And so that's a very important distinction. I just want to pause and highlight here. It's not that one is right or wrong. They're just completely different approaches that this world
Yeah.
can.
Mhm.
And so it's important that we get there. So with that in
Yeah.
mind, let's move into the questions of the format. Let's do it. Back to you, Amir.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about the frameworks. As you rolled out an affiliate marketing program in your companies, what frameworks have you found helpful?
Ooh, I don't know if I have found any frameworks out there. I feel like we're kind of rewriting that playbook as we are learning and pivoting
Yeah.
and go on this journey, to be honest. Like I said, with my business, I've done a lot of some of those learnings, but at the same time, Kalaya is a smaller brand, smaller group of people. I didn't have this crazy paycheck earners
Yeah.
that would be resistant to change. I didn't have decades of, two generations of business builders that have built their massive businesses in one way. So it was slightly different, right? They were more open to change. Pivoting, some of the pivots that may be made really didn't impact them financially
Yeah.
because they were already, we were right around the corner of COVID when we launched. So they were kind of going towards that path of
Yeah.
being more the affiliate marketers anyway. I mean, our industry was going that direction. Just the COVID accelerated that journey for
Yeah.
all of us before we were prepared, right? So, but going through this with Now Young Living, it's a whole new different ballgame because it's a 30-year-old legacy company,
Yeah.
very traditional MLM business. And now pivoting that, you have to keep a lot of things in mind. So for me, there were a few things that I think that helped us get off the ground successfully. Number one, we cannot forget the legacy. I know there's a lot of conversation you hear from executives in the industry that they are frustrated. You have
Mm.
legacy leaders who are sitting there and earning a paycheck, and they're
Yeah.
not putting in the same effort. But to I mean, I get the frustration. I do. This needs to be some pivots and changes that happens, but at the same time, I always remind them that's the dream we sold them,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
We
That's
cannot
why they
ignore
came.
the fact that's
True.
the dream we sold them on. Did
Yep.
you tell all of
Yep.
legacy leaders put in 5 to 10 years of your life and you can retire and have generational wealth. That's
Yeah.
what we told every single
Yeah.
person. And they did their work. They
Yep.
signed up for that and they did their work and they built their massive organizations and they decided that this was my time to retire and collect that paycheck.
Yeah.
Granted, things have changed and that duplication, that engine is not working the way that it used to. So the paychecks are going down and we need them to get back into action and help us grow. But at the same time, we cannot forget that's the dream we sold them, and we cannot just ignore them or disregard
Yeah.
them with any innovation and pivots that we make. That's the wrong thing to do.
True.
And they help every single brand that's out there in our space to get to where they are, right?
Yeah.
They built it from ground up just as much as we did in the corporate side. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean, going into this with Young Lin, that was my number one rule. I have to do everything I possibly can to take care of them and
Yeah.
bring them on this journey with me. And if I
Wow.
don't,
Yeah.
I knew that I'm not going to win. In whether they actively participate in it or not, I at least need to get their blessing
True.
and give them the courtesy of going to them first. So that was one of my first things. I spent hours and hours and hours, early days, early months. Just my time was spent on phone calls with legacy leaders,
Wow.
really helping them understand the vision. Number two, transparency. Like they are a true business partner.
Yeah.
They have as much stake in this as the company owners and investors in our industries. It's their livelihood.
Yeah.
They poured decades of their time and effort into building your brand with you. So just having that transparency of where you're going, what you're trying to do, in having those tough conversations. More often, we are really scared to have those conversations with our leaders. So we try to say like, okay, let's just not share the full picture with them, good, bad, and the ugly, because we were worried about what they will do, how they will react. In my opinion, it needs to be full transparency.
Yeah.
And when you have that open and honest conversation with them, they become part of the solution. They don't want to pack up and go. They don't want you to fail. They
Yeah.
want you to win as much as you do because they want this business to survive.
Yeah.
So having that transparency was really, really key. Another thing was change management.
Mm.
Part of that is obviously having that transparency, but change management, not just externally, but also internally.
Yeah.
We all know in big companies, big corporations, any change innovation is hard because there's a
Yeah.
lot of politics, there's a lot of different opinions, a lot of layers of approval. So, really, how do you work through that process to bring as many people as you can on board internally and externally was really key. Again, one layer at a time, spending that time with the management team and all the way down to the lower level employees, casting their vision was
Yeah.
important. And obviously I had a little bit of an advantage. I've been within the Young Living ecosystem for a long time. I used to work there before, so I've known a lot of people. Then my husband works there, so I was at a little bit of an advantage. I would say that going into it, I wasn't a brand new person that they didn't know. I already
Yeah.
had a relationship with a lot of these leaders as well as internally. But I use that to my advantage to really build on that relationship and the trust to bring everybody along on that journey. And that really helped. I mean, I was blown away by the support that I got from internal staff. The more people who understood the vision and where we are going, what we are trying to do, people came around. It's like, how can I help? What do you need?
Yeah.
How can I help? Where can I support? That has been a conversation and which was really beautiful and fun to see. And the last thing I would say is it's just having that support from the top, very top. I don't think we would have gotten where we are today if Mary did not personally champion this project.
Yep.
Yeah.
She was the executive sponsor of this on the Young Living side. I mean, she personally championed it. She personally pitched it to the employees. She personally pitched it to the leaders. She set me up for success, to be honest. And she empowered me. And there was when people saw her excitement and commitment, even people who questioned it early on, internally and externally, kind of took a step back and said,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to trust and see where this goes. Because she was excited. She had that trust and the relationship with everybody in that ecosystem. So I think those were some of the things that really helped us to get to where we are and at least help us get off to a really strong start.
I want to ask a few questions because I like the framework of the idea of here's how to create lasting change with honoring a legacy that you've shared with us today. And I do believe all four of those are important. Tactically speaking, though, Gaia, a lot of people struggle with this idea of honoring the legacy. And okay, so do you keep a comp plan where they're earning off this volume of others, and then this is just like a new member type that people can be that only earns one level? Like, what's been some, I'm sure there's some things that have surprised you in this journey as you've been doing this, because you've been doing this for a few years with your other opportunity, and now doing it inside of Young Living's ecosystem is huge. So what were the tactical decisions that you got to as you explored this? Because there's a lot of other people who are saying,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to learn from you. They're here saying, hey, we're exploring the same
Yeah.
thing on our side and we want to learn. So how do you actually honor it? Because I think a lot of these people who did the work for decades and they did the dream we sold them, hey, do the work and you're going to pay the rest of your lifetime. Then we come back to them and say, hey, we're changing the comp plan to one level payout. And they're like, what are you doing? You're taking away all my income, right? So how do you navigate that in your world? And
So
in what types of tactical decisions well, put in place? It's public information now that Wild Notes is here.
yeah.
But if you want to share what that was, I think that'll be really helpful to other people who are listening.
Yeah.
So here's what we did. And one of the things I said earlier is that most of our field acts like affiliates. But the
Sure.
other part of the hustle is most companies and comp plans actually have an affiliate layer already built into their compensation plan. They just
Sure.
don't talk
Sure.
about it that way,
Direct
right?
commissions.
So
Yep.
Young Living was
Sure.
no different. They have a fast start program where they're already paying 25% commission on
Yeah.
every new customer order that their brand partners bring in. And they get the volume on that, but then a reduced volume, a portion of that volume is also commissionable during that fast start period because
Sure.
they're paying a higher commission to those first orders for the person who
Sure.
enrolled them. So all what we did was we took that fast start program and repackaged it. We did not change the comp plan. We did not change the comp plan. We took that and we repackaged it. They're already used to it. They already have it. So we took that and said, okay, with Wild Notes, every time that you bring in a new customer, you get that 25% commission on the
Yeah.
affiliate side, but you still get the volume on the Young Living side. We took the fast start and we separate the
Yeah.
commission payout into the two companies, two brands, and we kept everything else the same. So we
Wow.
did not change the comp plan. We did not take away the leadership bonuses and that organization volume and any of that.
Then in the user experience, to be clear, then in Wild Notes, just so I'm connecting the dots for everybody too, within Wild Notes, those affiliates are just seeing the 25% commission for bringing on a new
Mhm.
customer. They're not
But if
they're
they are
not
also a
experiencing
Young
any sort
Living,
of leadership. They're not experiencing any leadership
um,
rewards unless they're within Young Living's ecosystem.
Mm.
Is that
yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
If you so we created a space for affiliates that's non-threatening space. You can just share the product and earn 25% commission.
Yeah.
But if you want that residual income and all the other added benefits of a MLM, network marketing company, come and be part of both.
Yeah.
And you now receive that volume onto the Young Living side and also earn all the other different levels of commissions and bonuses on that side.
Just because I know this is another tactical question many people ask, and are you allowing them from Wild Notes to just simply upgrade their account in the Young Living, or do they have to figure out who to be sponsored under separately? What is that experience like if someone's enjoying Wild Notes and says, I want to join the rest of Young Living? How did you navigate
Yeah.
that? What is that user experience like?
They can, obviously go in and directly enroll and they go into the orphan pool and they have a process. Young Living already has a process for that. Or they could just go to the affiliate that referred them to our notes. And if they are a Young Living brand partner, they can obviously enroll with
Sure.
someone who they have a relationship with.
That's all part of the experience. And then When
Yeah.
you talked about change management, one of the things I love that you shared, another awesome gal who's in our space, who she spoke on our show previously, but if you guys rewind and watch Danielle Brown's episode, Danielle was doing Gaya's role during Tastefully Simple's transformation years ago, and later was actually at Young Living for a period of time. He was your head of sales for a period of time. Today she runs a company called Yoli. And one thing I appreciate about Danielle when we did a large launch with her in her world is she did 50 one-on-ones with the top leaders. And a lot of times when someone's doing new
Wow.
change management in their world, right, they think, oh, I'm going to just jump on the weekly leadership webinar and for 3 weeks in a row, I'll
Yeah.
highlight the new thing. And what you heard from Gaia, and if you rewind in our podcast series, what you heard from Danielle is like, no, that's not what it takes. You actually need to go do the one-on-ones. I watched Danielle do
Yeah.
50 one-on-ones with the top leaders. Was that convenient? Not convenient. What did she
No.
probably like to do that? Probably didn't like to do that. Did she have to
Yeah.
pour an extra cup of coffee and get there and do it?
Yeah.
Probably needed a couple extra cups of coffee. And so, like, guys, just to throw it out here, Young Living's a massive organization. They do billions of dollars in sales each year. How many one-on-ones did you have to do? Like, let's just be raw about it. Like,
Oh my
how many
gosh.
leader one-on-ones? I mean, I know you did them for months, but how many did you do? Because people
Yeah.
need to hear the real work. All right, they missed this part.
I don't know. I should go back and count actually. I should go back and
Yeah,
count because
yeah,
it was probably 50 to 100 and
yeah,
there
Yeah.
was conversations honestly
sure.
lasted 3 hours straight because
Yeah,
we could not get on the same page and there was just
yeah,
no way I will leave that conversation without
Yeah.
convincing him or
Yeah.
her to get on board because that will only lead to disaster, right? The
Yeah.
yeah,
minute that you leave the unsettling conversation, they pick up the phone, right? So with all the other people, and then it just unravels from there. So straight up, like 3 hour conversations. And were they the most favorite thing that I did? Absolutely not. But they were
but you did it.
necessary. They were
Yes.
necessary.
Yes.
So I
It
want
was, it
everyone to
was,
hear
it
that
was,
though, because you missed this part, team. Like everyone, executives who are listening, Gaia did the work. Like that part,
Yeah.
when you listen to some of our previous episodes, people like Danielle did the work, Gaia did the work. Change management is not this, you don't just shoot out the email. You don't just, these are all real
Yeah.
relationships that people who are, they're in your religion. Like these people believe in you.
yeah.
You're their
True.
hope for their families.
True.
And
And
yeah,
they were one
that's,
on one. They were one on one. I didn't put
yep,
groups together. Didn't put like
Yeah.
10, 20, 30 people together. They were
No.
absolutely one on one conversations because then it gave me an opportunity to build that relationship, answer their very specific questions. And I mean, that was probably my first 3, 4 months that was
Wow. That is
spent.
very exciting. Very
But
exactly.
exciting indeed.
it paid off because when we actually launched, when we
Yeah.
told masses about this, all of those leaders were on board and they were already championing it. And that
Yeah.
stopped everybody else on their tracks and go, wait,
Yeah.
so and so actually saying positive things about it. She's on board. Okay, maybe I should just listen, right?
Yeah.
And yeah. And I mean, even since then, I still spend quite a bit of time on those conversations because I couldn't talk to every single Royal Crown Diamond
Yeah.
Sure.
during that time, right? I mean, they are a massive organization with a lot of leaders. So I couldn't talk to every diamond within Young Living. So since the announcement, since we launched, I'm still spending that time with people who are kind of coming a little bit
Yeah.
late to the game and finally coming around, right? Now we are a month in. 30 days in, finally seeing this is going somewhere and coming around that second wave of people. And now I'm spending that time with that group of people to help them get on
That
board.
is very exciting, Gaia. That is very exciting
Yeah.
indeed. What pitfalls would you warn the listeners about as they explore affiliate marketing today?
Here's the thing, when we think about affiliate marketing, a lot of people, a lot of companies think that we could just slap in an affiliate program and be
Yeah.
that. You just can't. It's a full package. It needs to be the full package. It's not just getting Shopify on board. It's not
Yeah.
just having an affiliate commission layer. It's not just a product launch. It's everything needs to come together. There are a lot of pieces of this puzzle that has to come
Mm.
together in order to make it successful. In a lot of companies out there who have tried it, that's where they go wrong. They just do a little bit. And
Yeah.
then it's not given enough effort for it to be fully successful, right?
True.
It's the communications, it's the branding, it's the brand story that you tell, it's the digital experience, it's the compensation, how it's set up. I mean, all of these things needs to come together. So that's what I would tell. I would tell anybody who's looking at it. I just shared just a few days ago about my thoughts on Shopify because people think, oh, I'll just get on Shopify, it will solve all of my problems. No, it's not
No,
going to.
no, that's
It
not
is
the
not.
answer.
It's just one
Yeah,
piece of the puzzle, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
You need that.
And
Absolutely need
well,
good e-commerce
absolutely.
engine.
sure,
But
True.
that alone is not going to turn around your business
Yeah.
if you want
exactly.
to be in network marketing.
Yeah.
So it's all of those just have to come together. And that's what I would tell. I've seen the biggest challenge, a lot of the companies who have tried it, it just doesn't work that way. And
Yeah.
you need to
Yeah.
go fully in and create something. And that's what we did. We created Wild Notes to be a completely separate entity, separate brand. We went to the whiteboard and say, we have a clean canvas, knowing what we know today. If we have to recreate it, what would it have? And we set it up to be separate. So we're not hurting our core business. We're not trying to experiment within the core business because this is an experiment. So we're learning a lot, right?
Yeah.
We didn't want to rattle our core business. So we left that alone. We said, let's go and start from the scratch. So we created a brand new product, new brand, new product story, but obviously tied back to who Young Living is. Simplicity, just crazy simple in the product story we tell, the claims we make to the compensation structure. I mean, everything is really simple. The digital marketing, e-commerce experience, all of those things. So that's what we did. We just went and said, like, let's just create our own thing. And in the ideal scenario, what would it look like?
I think the other pitfall we touched on earlier too, Mayor, from what Guy has been sharing is like she did the work on the change management of all the
Yes.
one-on-ones. I can
Yes.
agree, like what Guy said too. And it also doesn't have to be Shopify. Like I always think about you need a clean e-commerce experience that doesn't require a
Yeah,
phone
yeah,
call.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's kind of the
yeah,
that kind of shames most MLM software providers in the space in that statement
Yeah.
is that most onboarding, most shopping cart experiences in our space are crap. And so, what do they require?
Yeah.
They require the customer to get on the phone with the sales rep to even complete a transaction. And we all know that that's just
Yeah.
subpar UX coding work. Now,
Yeah.
Shopify has been an answer for many, but we have to also just throw this out to people because you got to get this. I've run into this with a number of customers. Like Shopify doesn't support MLM companies with their merchant account. So you end up needing your own merchant account, which means you do have to
Yeah.
pay
right.
that 2% fee, gang, each month to Shopify. And it may not be worth it for you to share
Yeah,
2% of your
yeah,
transactions with Shopify just for their cart experience. So there is a number of different carts you can choose, you can look at, you can work with. Know that you don't just have to check into Shopify. If you like even our research on that, message us, jump in the LinkedIn group. We'll share with you some of the ones we've seen that are not Shopify that still give a great user experience and don't charge you a percentage of your revenue. Okay. Because
yeah,
there's been some blind loyalty to that I would just speak to. But you also have to hear so you're hearing that a transaction has to be able to occur with just an invitation. Okay, really important. And as e-commerce continues to change, people are buying right on TikTok Shop. People are buying right inside of Instagram. They're buying right inside of Facebook. Right, this will be a part of the future conversation because you got to understand
yeah.
those young people you want in your company, right, are not buying the way you bought stuff. They're buying things
Yeah.
directly off social platforms, and so there's a whole nother
Yes.
conversation to like TikTok Shop and all this other stuff we could really get to. I don't want you guys to miss when we talk about this question of pitfalls, the change management of
Yeah.
all the one-on-ones with all your leaders, of them having space to be heard and them actually getting it from the head of their heart so that you don't just create confusion. We all know a confused mind does
Yeah.
nothing. We say this constantly, but it's
True.
true. And if you're gonna win here, you got to get that. Now, I know we're practically out of time for the session, but we do have one more question from the panel, and I love this question. I want to give context
Yeah.
before Umair shares this question, Guy, because we always get that person who's just exhausted, who's in
Yeah.
our panel and feels like they're planned for 2, 3 years in the future, and they ask the question this way, and that's where this
Yeah.
comes from. But I'm excited to hear your answer. So Umair, we'll wrap up the final one.
Cool.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Guy. Before we go today, what is that one thing you would like to share with the busy executives, who are listening to today, the ones who say, "Oh, I've already got everything planned for the whole year, and I don't know how, or I can do anything else." We know them all, and what is the one takeaway you would want them to have for this session?
I mean, if they have the year planned out and that has a plan to create that duplication, maybe you don't need anything else, right? I think at the very core, that's what's broken in our industry. That's what's not working in our industry. If we can get that duplication engine going again,
Yeah.
we will start growing again.
Yeah.
If you point to one thing that's not working and that can fixed and needs to be fixed, that's what it is. It's just we're not duplicating the way we used to because we're not meeting people in person, and we try to send somebody with a link to a website that's not set up for that conversion and retention. So that duplication is not working. So if you have a really solid plan, and there's no one way to build this business. So if you have a really solid plan that works for your brand, that can address that one issue, you're golden. You probably don't need
Yeah.
anything else. But if you don't, I also don't think that you have any other options but to innovate and pivot.
Yes. Yeah.
And the other thing is the innovation doesn't have to cost a fortune. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to break the bank. Every single company, I mean, almost every single company, I should say, in our industry was started as bootstrap startups. They
Yeah.
didn't come with a lot of money. Maybe some of the newer ones that's popping up now have the backing, but if you look at the Young Livings of the world, New Skins of the world, I mean, USANAs of the world, I mean, nobody came in with this just
Sure.
massive amount of money, right? They all started
Exactly.
as bootstrap startups. So go
True.
back to your roots. And it doesn't have to cost a fortune. Wild Notes did not cost a fortune for us to get off the ground. It really didn't. And it's mind blowing because when we are in a big corporation, we like to think big. We
Yeah.
always have this grand gesture. You do a rebranding, it's supposed to cost you $5 million to rebrand a product line, right? Like
True.
that's the mentality that we live in.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to. There's always a way to create a bootstrap startup, and that's exactly what we did. I didn't hire a massive team. I worked with freelancers to get this brand up and running. Still to this day, I have not hired a single full-time person. I used the resources I
Got it.
could into within Young Living for certain things, but the rest I used 1099 freelancers to get
Yeah.
everything done.
Yep.
In most of our cost was in product, the inventory. It
Yeah.
wasn't in the other expenses. So if you're sitting there thinking like, I don't think you have a choice, but it also doesn't have to cost a fortune. But you
Yeah.
also need that dedicated resource, though. It
True.
can be an afterthought, somebody's
Yep.
pet project,
Yep.
if and when they have time. You need that dedicated resources, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be this massive team and multi-million-dollar investment. So that's what I would tell.
Got it. Hey,
Okay.
thank you so much for the session today, guy. And I agree wholeheartedly. Omer and I have seen that always that if you don't have a dedicated person who's actually,
Yeah.
we say, waking up and brushing their teeth and thinking about this, then it's not going to happen, right? If no one wakes up every day and brush their teeth to think about wild notes, it
Yeah.
ain't going to happen. So
Yeah.
if
No.
you're watching this and you're considering that, you got to ask who in our organization is waking up and brushing their teeth
Yeah.
and thinking about this every day.
Yeah.
Agreed. But it was just such a total treat to have you on, and thank you for your perspective. I know it's not everyone has the same perspective on affiliate marketing. And Mary, thank you for the questions and
Yeah.
what you pulled from the forum. It's one for all of us worth to weigh. So I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for the time. Wishing you all the best, just with the impact as you pour into other people's lives, Gaia. I wish you and your husband the best this next season, and I'm grateful
Yes.
for you. For those of you that are brand new to watching the stream and you're not in the platform yet, it is absolutely free to be a part of the Direct Selling Executives Forum. You can go to directSellingExecutivesForum.com. You'll be forwarded to the LinkedIn group where you apply for free membership. It's for active direct selling executives only in the space. You can also go on LinkedIn and search for Direct Selling Executives Forum. And it'll pop right up. You can join the private group. We have a community on Facebook as well, but
Yep.
it's a lot more fun on LinkedIn. So join us on LinkedIn. That's where we're having a good time and sharing more insights like this. If you have other topics you'd like to hear about or other forum questions you'd like to submit for open forum, submit them within the group. That's where Umair and I grab topics and we say, who would be the best to speak on this? And we knew Guy had a strong opinion on one version of affiliate marketing, which is great. And we have a counterpoint
Yes.
we'll have on a future show for you. So you'll get to hear both sides, which is fun. So they're neither are right or wrong. It's just a different approach to solving the duplication and revenue problem that everyone's trying to solve at the end of the day, right? And just as Gaya shared. But thank you so much for being on the session today, everybody. Have an amazing day. If you haven't yet joined the DSEF group on LinkedIn, go to directSellingExecutiveForum.com or go on LinkedIn and search for Direct Selling Executive Forum to apply. The group is free and is an invite-only community of direct selling executives by direct selling executives.